Hello everyone, Artemu the Violet Wizard here, and today we're continuing the Pokémon FireRed Nuzlocke. Last time we went sailing with our Pokémon to a few different places that can be reached now that we have access to Surf, and managed to explore a great deal of Cinnabar Island, one of our main destinations here on our Pokémon journey. So yeah, this has been a pretty nice bit of prep in order to get things ready for our next gym challenge, which is right here on Cinnabar Island itself. So before we go into this gym, I want to show off the team that we're going to be going into this battle. Now, as you can plainly see since last time, I did a bit of grinding with my team so that we would be prepared for the challenges ahead. And we got quite a few good things out of that. For namely, if we check our Golem Wilma's status, she now has Earthquake in place of Magnitude. This is easily one of the strongest attacks that we have access to. 100 base power, and it will hit all targets in a double battle. So yeah, this thing, it does a lot of damage, and it's going to be really useful in this gym here. Besides that, most of the other Pokemon are looking pretty much the same as last time. Though, with what we got coming up, yeah, it's going to be an interesting... It is certainly going to be an interesting session, given what we are going to be doing in this area. Also, something I completely forgot to bring up now that we have access to Cinnabar Island. This place in the lore is typically considered a volcanic island, though there is no visible signs of a volcano here in the actual game, because, you know, it's tough to craft that back on the Game Boy. But a few other games that showcase Cinnabar Island show it as being a volcanic island with an actual volcano. In fact, I believe Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee has the volcano clearly visible on it, so that's nice. Alright, now that we got all that taken care of, it is time that we finally begin our challenge here at the Cinnabar Island Pokemon Gym. We're going to be facing the Hot-Headed Quizmaster. Ooh, such a title. Let's go right in. Yo, champ of the making! The Hot-Headed Blaine is a fire Pokemon pro. Douses spirits with water. You better take some burn heals too. Yeah, better have burn heal and all that. So this gym is notable for a few different things. For one, if we want to get forward, we can talk to the trainers here and then battle them, as we have doors that are barring our progress to the gym leader. And we got to obviously beat the trainers in order to push forward. So yeah, with our girl Wilma here, she's going to be really effective against the trainers in this area. So obviously, the Cinnabar Gym specializes in fire Pokemon. Fire is traditionally a very offensive type. It does really good against a lot of different types, and fire Pokemon tend to have really high attack and special attack in order to maximize the amount of damage they can do to opponents. So it's a very offensive type. Defensively, they're pretty decent. There's a few common types they resist, like grass and bug and ice. And they're also completely immune to being burned. So don't even think about trying to burn them, because it's not going to work. I surrender! God, it's making me remember one of my favorite moments from the film Flushed Away, if you'd seen that. Oh, man. Do you know how hot Pokemon Fire Breath can get? Well, surely there isn't a Pokemon that's, you know, hotter than the surface of the sun, because that would be ridiculous. Yeah, for dealing with the fire types in this area, you should easily be able to handle the Pokemon here. Because in order to reach Cinnabar, you need to have a Pokemon with Surf. That's a 90 base power attack that will do super effective damage against these guys. And that damage is in turn even stronger when it's used by an actual water Pokemon. So yeah, this area really isn't that bad to go through. There are a few high-level Pokemon we'll be seeing at the end of this gym, but it shouldn't be too much trouble given what we have already faced. But you do have to worry about your Pokemon being burned by some opponents. But yeah, in terms of strategies for this gym, obviously having a water, rock, or ground Pokemon are going to be really good here. Preferably water and rock because they also resist fire damage. Ground does not have that resistance, so you'll definitely want to watch out if you're coming in here with a Sand Slash or a Dugtrio. But besides the typings, Fire does have an additional weakness in that if you use the weather move Rain Dance to set up rain in this gym, that will lower the damage of Fire-type moves, while also increasing the amount of damage that Water-type moves will do in that fight. So that's obviously a really good strategy for dealing with Fire Pokemon in this area. Definitely very good to douse their strength. Now, want to show off here. Obviously, we can fight the trainers in order to open the way, but there are also these machines here. Pokemon quiz, get it right and the door opens to the next room. Get it wrong and face a trainer. Want to conserve your Pokemon for the gym leader, then get it right. Here we go. There are 9 certified Pokemon League badges. I mean, I saw Gary have 10 badges in the anime, so clearly that's right. Sorry, bad call. So yep, if you answer the question wrong, you'll have to battle the respective trainer anyway. So yeah, that's definitely something to watch out for when you are dealing with this. Yeah, in terms of other strategies to do here, certain fire Pokemon could actually be good to bring in here just to soak up some hits. Because starting in Gen 3, a lot of fire types gain the ability Flash Fire, which renders them completely immune to fire type damage. And that could be really useful if for some reason you don't have any other Pokemon that can resist fire attacks. So yeah, there's definitely quite a lot of strategies involved to being able to douse these hot-headed Pokemon. Definitely go with what you feel will be best for whatever situation you're in. Obviously, you should have, like, a ton of water Pokemon by this point. There are so many water Pokemon in Kanto. And there's a lot of routes where you can exclusively get water Pokemon, so yeah, definitely take advantage of that, and you should be doing pretty well here. I wouldn't really call this one of the hardest gyms, especially if you're Nuzlocking, but yeah, there's definitely a few things to keep in mind about this place. Alright, but this next one, let's bring in Aether, since Wilma's gotten a good warm-up. So let's go answer this quiz here. Get it wrong and face a trainer. Poliwag evolves 3 times. Technically that's correct, but we're gonna go with no. You're absolutely correct! Go on through. So that opens up the path so we can just freely go ahead. But I want to fight the trainer anyway, because we need experience. So yeah, we're just gonna be facing everyone we can going forward. Burglar Ramon. So yeah, another neat thing with this gym, if you're playing Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, the entire layout of this gym has been completely changed, and the method for progressing is also significantly different. But my god, the gimmick they go with the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee version of this gym is so good. Like, they really play up the game show aspect that they set up in the original Gen 1 games. Just really go with it, with Blaine having an entire game show setup, complete with an audience watching, and my god, that's just a very fun gym. I just love the atmosphere of it. It's very entertaining, to say the least. And I also believe that Blaine's team has also changed a bit between the versions. So if you're facing him here in Fire Red and Leaf Green, he will have a different team in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee to kind of reflect just in general using a lot more variety when it comes to Fire-type Pokemon, which I do like when it comes to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. They do shake up a lot of the trainer battles. In fact, a lot of the trainers that we've been fighting over the course of the events ever since Celadon, a lot of the trainers along those routes are not only much higher level, but typically use a lot more diverse selections of Pokemon, which I definitely appreciate. Definitely a good way to make things a little trickier during that section of the journey. And obviously, higher level opponents means you're getting more experience from beating them, so that's always very nice for getting your team strong enough for the opponents. Yowza! Too hot! Okay, the fact that I was using Vaporeon during that battle is rather unfortunate. Fire's weak against H2O! That is accurate there, Zach. Actually, very similar to the name of a friend of mine. But yeah, also when it comes to this gym here, so in terms of the lore, Blaine is quite the interesting character, as he was actually a researcher that was here on Cinnabar, and he worked with Dr. Fuji in order to create Mewtwo. It's shown in a lot of Pokemon media, especially in the manga, that Blaine had involvement in that whole thing. So it's another way of adding a lot of depth to this character, who previously was just another opponent that you would have to fight in order to move forward. So over here, there's a picture on the wall. It's a photo of Blaine and Mr. Fuji. They're standing shoulder to shoulder with big grins. So yep, that's a hint about their shared history together, that they were indeed partners. But that is all we're going to need to say about that, because it's time to finally face the gym leader. This one, we should be pretty good. Aether, besides being a water type, has a ton of HP and a lot of special defense, so he should easily be able to weather anything Blaine is able to throw at us. So, let's do this. Ha! I am Blaine, the red-hot leader of Cinnabar Gym! My fiery Pokemon are all rough and ready with intense heat. They incinerate all challengers. Ha! You better have Burn Heal! A line that's been reposted a lot in the Pokemon community. So Blaine here is our opponent here today. Leading off with a Growlithe. Very small but cute and feisty fire type. It's nothing we haven't already encountered before, so let's just wash it away. Oh, that is good. It's a nice clean kill right off the bat. Good work, Aether. And that gets you to 46. So we're going to be even stronger for these next battles. So next up is Ponyta. That's a very fast fire type, but shouldn't be much trouble for us. Yep, goes down too. God, just really goes to show just how good Vaporeon is for this gym. The next up is Rapidash, the evolution of Ponyta. Definitely a bit fiercer and a lot faster, is actually able to outspeed Aether despite being lower level than us. But it goes down too. Very good. And Blaine's final Pokemon is Arcanine, a Pokemon that we are very familiar with on this team because we have Kindle. Alright, so this one, pretty much our main strategy here. Let's go for Surf and hope for the best. Arcanine has really good stats across the board, so wow. Alright, I was expecting a little bit of resistance there, but no, Aether is just built different. Just swept that entire team by himself. Oh, well done. I have burned down to nothing! Not even ashes remain! You have earned the Volcano Badge. Thank you, sir. Ha! The Volcano Badge heightens the special stats of your Pokemon. Here, you can have this too. And we get ourselves TM38. Fire Blast is the ultimate fire technique. Don't waste it on water Pokemon. He says that when you can actually teach that attack to Slowpoke of all Pokemon. But yeah, that move is pretty legit. It's basically a stronger but less accurate version of Flamethrower. And yeah, I wouldn't call it the strongest fire attack, because there is one other one that will be very obvious in time. But it is certainly very powerful. Definitely could be worth it if you're willing to put up with the lack of accuracy on it. Hayden, you beat that firebrand! Yes, I did. Just completely extinguished his party. That was so good. But now that that's taken care of, we got ourselves another gym taken down, which means we only need one more badge before our journey is complete. I'm looking forward to grabbing that. Oh, look who it is. Huh? Hey, if it isn't Hayden! Look, it's me, Bill. Long time no see. I hope you're still using my PC system. Well, listen, since we met up here, how about spending time with me? There's this little island in the far south called One Island. A friend invited me, so I'm on my way out there. How about it? You feel like coming with me? Yeah, sure, buddy. Alright then, let's go! Looks like my pal's boat arrived too. He sent it specially here to Cinnabar to pick me up. So welcome to some FireRed and Leaf Green exclusive content here. Here we are. This is One Island. There are several islands around here. This is one of them. My friend Celio sent the boat to fetch me here. He's in charge of the island's PC network by his lonesome. Why am I telling you this now? Let's just go see Celio. So this area is part of an archipelago of islands to the south of the Kanto region known as the Sevi Islands. And we'll probably see a bit more of this area in time. Hey there, Celio! Bill, I can't believe you came out here. Well, absolutely. How's your research coming along? Oh, wait a sec. Hayden, this is my buddy Celio. He is one dedicated PC maniac. Celio, this is Hayden, a rising contender as the Pokemon champ. That's really impressive. I hate to say it, but I have zero aptitude for battling. Anyways, I'm glad to meet you. So, bring me up to speed. How's your machine running? It's running fine, but we're too remote out here. The PCs on this island just can't link with your PC, Bill. Oh yeah? Okay, let me take a look-see. Hang on here. I think we can make it work. Let me help you, okay? Hayden, can I get you to wait for me just a bit? Actually, can I get you to do me a favor? The island next to this one's called Two Island. There's a guy there that runs a game corner. He has this thing for rare rocks and gems. We keep in touch, being fellow maniacs. So can I get you to deliver this meteorite to him? So we get a meteorite from Bill. Hayden, if you're going to Two Island, please take this. And we obtain a Tri-Pass, which is our ticket to being able to explore the Sevi Islands. It's a pass for the ferry service serving the local islands. I'll let you travel between the islands 1, 2, and 3. Oh, you should have this too. And we got an extra page for the town map. I'll catch you later. Say hi to the guy for me. So yeah, that was a lot being front-loaded onto us. We got ourselves a quest from Bill, an upgrade to our town map. That will give us some more areas to see here. So we do check the map. This gives us a new page showing the areas we're able to explore in the Sevi Islands. So we got One Island on the left, Two Island in the middle, and then Three Island on the right. And then you can freely switch between that and the Kanto map. It's pretty convenient, all things considered. So yeah, this entire sequence is gonna be pretty interesting. It's a bit of a lengthy side quest, but it's really not that bad. A meteorite that fell from space on a Mount Moon long ago. It's very lumpy and hard. For those of you who recall the plot of Ruby and Sapphire, a meteorite also played a minor role in that game. Though this one's definitely going to be a lot more minor. Then of course we have the Tri-Pass, which allows us to travel between the islands. How about we try it like this? I'm sorry for taking up so much of Bill's time. I'm also sorry for being such a poor host on your visit here. The usual PC services aren't available. So yeah, Bill and Celio here are just going to be working on the servers to connect the Sevi Islands with the network over on Kanto. So in the meantime, we can explore this place and see what we can find, because there's certainly quite a bit we can enjoy here on the Sevi Islands. Wish I could trade Pokemon with my boyfriend who lives far away. On this island, there's an enormous volcano. It hasn't erupted lately, so why not enjoy a hike? Oh, you're a stranger here. Hi, where'd you come from? Pallet Town? I don't know it. Yeah, these are pretty remote islands, so it makes sense they wouldn't know about it. Hi, sightseeing, are you? Isn't the warm climate here great? Here we are on an island smack in the middle of nowhere. We're lucky to have an upstanding young man like Celio here. My granddaughter was in a tizzy over Celio's friend. Something about a famous Pokemaniac? I'm not sure what that means, but Celio is quite the man. One island. Friends gather at Knot Island. So yeah, these islands here actually do have normal names, instead of just being called 1 island, 2 island, 3 island, 4. On sunny days, I step out and gaze upon the volcano. That's my daily routine. Let me think, when was the last time Mount Ember erupted? Hopefully it's not going to do that anytime soon. So yeah, for the rest of the session, we're just going to be adventuring around the Sevi Islands and seeing what we can do here. Young people all want to go off to big cities, but I want to stay here forever. And while we're exploring this area, there is a ton of stuff that I would like to do. Namely, there are some new Pokemon that we can catch in these areas. So we're definitely going to do our best to explore as much as we can. But for now, we have access to a new area if we surf to the south of one island. Lying back, rocked by the waves, it's exquisite. And of course, we got some new trainers we can fight here as well. So typically the Pokemon around here, they're going to be at a pretty decent level. They're still going to be below the level of the last gym leader we fought, so that's still a little unfortunate, but we're going to have a pretty nice time just dealing with threats around here. There's nothing really all that scary that we're going to see in this area, so we should be good. And while we are exploring the sites around here, what are some stuff that we can talk about? The first thing that I would like to mention is that I've been having a pretty good day off from work. I actually got 2 days off in a row, which is very nice for me. So I'll definitely be making the most of this break and getting some progress in some projects that I've been meaning to get done. And yep, hopefully we'll have a good time. Also want to show off that we're facing some new Pokemon here. We had Seal, which is a Pokemon we could have encountered previously in the Seafoam Islands, had we ventured deeper into that place. And then we have Dugong, its evolution. So Seal is a pure water type, Dugong is water ice. Yeah, there are like 3 different Pokemon in this region that are all water ice. And it would take us until Gen 3 for us to get a pure Ice-type Pokemon. Ah, man, this series. Yeah, Dugong, I don't really recommend this Pokemon that much. I mean, when you look at its stats, it's pretty much just a weaker version of Lapras. There's really not much going on for it that Lapras doesn't already do, but better. Yeah, I do not recommend Dugong. I did use it previously in a playthrough of Leaf Green I did years ago, but yeah, there's really not much else I can say about it. Good things get washed up by the ocean current onto this beach. That's why I often come here for some beach combing. Oh, so we gotta comb the beach, eh? Luckily, we got ourselves an item finder that can help with that. So this area south of the One Island port is known as Treasure Beach. You can find a lot of items washed up here if you use the item finder to check. So it's going to be pretty easy to just go around and get these items. Just make good use of your item finder and you should be able to get a lot of good stuff. Sadly, there aren't any new Pokemon that we can catch in this area. There's a few elusive ones, like you can acquire Persian and Tangela in this area, but I already have those Pokemon, so we don't need to worry about that. Yeah, I'm just gonna focus on gathering some rare items that can be found here. Ooh, Big Pearl. So that is a larger, more valuable version of the pearls that you can get from Shelter. And that is a very nice find indeed. We can use that to, well, we'll sell it for a good amount of money. Sadly, there isn't a shop here on one island, so we're gonna have to wait a while before we can actually do some shopping. But that's fine, there's still quite a bit we can see here on Knot Island. Let's go heal up at the center, then we should be good to move forward. Because yeah, we got a lot that we can explore here. And I want to make sure that we get as much as we can done. So what I want to do next, we're going to head to the east. And this takes us to Kindle Road. Oh, look at that, Kindle. They named this area after you, girl. I'm beginning to get a sunburn. Ugh, that's just always the worst. When I go out these days, I try to make sure that I have proper skin protection on. Just to make sure that I don't get burned, because it sucks. Also doesn't help that I'm a pasty white guy up here in Canada, so obviously I burn pretty easy. Yeah, it's always such a pain. Which also sucks because I really love to go to the beach. Just swimming around, relaxing, building sand sculptures. All that puts you at risk of getting skin damage. That's unfortunate. So over here, I believe we have a new face, which is Golduck, the evolution of Psyduck. Yeah, this one is pretty elusive. But when it comes to water types, it's kind of basic. It naturally learns some psychic attacks, which is nice. But besides that, it's kind of a generic water type. There's a lot of Pokemon that are better than it. But I do really like Golduck. I've used it a ton. And it's been a pretty good party member when I use it. So there's nothing over on this little islet. So let's keep moving. So over here on the main part of Kindle Road, ooh, we got a site that is pretty familiar for people who played some of the other games. It's a rugged rock, but a Pokemon may be able to smash it. So there's something we're going to be able to do with that in due time. And of course, we need that in order to get past certain obstacles. So, yeah, we'll definitely want to keep that in mind as we're taking care of some of the opponents around here. Yeah, in terms of some other stuff that's been going on lately, so I've been enjoying my day off so far. Went downtown over to Quesada for lunch, got myself a really nice burrito. God, it was very enjoyable. Definitely really like that. And in terms of some other stuff that's been going on, so for anyone that's familiar with Pokemon TCG Pocket, which is the Pokemon trading card game on mobile devices, a couple of weeks ago they released a new expansion to the game that added a bunch of cards relating to Pokemon Sun and Moon. So I've definitely been spending a lot of time trying to collect as many of those cards as I can. And it's been pretty good. I got over 100 cards from that set at the moment. Still got a ways before I have everything in that set, and when it comes to that game, I'm definitely trying to take things very casually. I'm not going to be spending any real-world money, because I don't feel like that's really going to be an investment I want to make. But yeah, I'm having a pretty chill time with that game. Just getting as many cards I want. There's definitely quite a few that I really like, just from the illustrations alone, but also from the battle properties, because I have been doing quite a few battles in the single-player mode of that game, with some of the set battles and also the event battles that they release every now and then. And one of the battles I did pretty recently, I really got a kick out of. So it's one of the new events where you can try to win some Rayquaza EX cards. And the first time I challenged the expert mode for that event, which is like the hardest difficulty that you can do in the card game, I managed to sweep the entire battle really quickly with a Galvantula of all things, and my god, that was a very impressive win I managed to do. Just getting that battle done really quickly. It's really lucky that I had the cards necessary to just quickly set up and sweep that entire battle. That was so good. And yeah, definitely managed to acquire the Rayquaza EX cards from that event, so that's very nice. Especially because Rayquaza is one of my favorite Pokemon. So, you know, it's definitely a good reason to get into it for that. Ooh, so this is an interesting attack we're getting on Aether. This is Acid Armor. It's a move that can increase the user's defense. That is quite good for a tanky Pokemon like Vaporeon, so we're gonna forget Sand Attack. We have really not been using this move, so fine, we'll switch it out for one that's a lot more defensive. Definitely could be good for some of the longer battles. I can definitely name a few battles later on in the story that could be pretty reliable for. Because yeah, I am hoping to bring Aether all the way to the end. He is such a good Pokemon. So yeah, I've definitely been enjoying the card game. And I also hear that the actual physical cards, they're getting a new expansion release based on Pokemon Black and White, which is always cool because I really like the Pokemon Black and White roster. But something that I don't really like is just acquiring the real cards these days has been such a pain. And there's really nothing I can do about it. It's really out of my hands because some assholes just think that they have the right to just go into a store, buy up every single Pokemon card pack they can, just so they can acquire the rare ones and then sell them online for like incredibly high prices. Fuck those people. They're just taking all the fun out of this hobby of mine that I just gotten back into and approaching it very casually. I've just been really frustrated by that the last couple of months. I'll try to see if I can find some of these new packs, but yeah, I'm not holding my breath. Like, they've always been sold out every time I visit Walmart. And, ugh. It's just disgusting. But that's the world we live in. Some people are motivated only by trying to make money. And I hate it immensely. Alright, we got that guy over there. But I just want to sneak past you, because I know there's an item we can find over here. So that is a Max Repel. Could be useful for later, but I don't really see a need for it. So over here on Kindle Road, there is a new Pokemon I want to try to get. Sure, we'll have Sarah take on this guy. I took a break from swimming, only to have you challenge me? Think you can take me? Garrett. And he's got himself a Shelter. Well, this battle's gonna be easy for Sarah. Time to crack some clams. So, talk about some other stuff that's been going on pretty recently. So the other day I was watching a stream by Claire, aka Proton John, where she was playing through the game The Legendary Starfy, which is a game I definitely heard about for a lot of years, but I never actually got into myself. So it's quite interesting seeing her go through that game. Yeah, definitely one that doesn't really fall into what I'm interested in these days, but it's pretty cute. It's got a charming amount of stuff, and definitely have some elements I quite appreciate. How it starts off as a very cute and simple game, but as the plot progresses, it's one of those games where it can get into some pretty heavy territory the more you go into it. So I definitely appreciate that about the game. And yeah, it's quite interesting from what I saw. Definitely been tuning into a lot of Claire streams these days, which is, I would definitely say, is pretty good, since haven't been the biggest fan of her content for a lot of years, but in more recent years I've definitely been a lot more fond of the content she's been putting out, so just want to say that. Okay, Sarah and Kindle should be good for this battle. Let's do this. My big brother and I make an awesome combination. Like, what are we going for? Like a combo sandwich here? Ah, Machoke and Primate. It's a Pokemon I am very familiar with. Well, one of these at least. God, I still love the fact that Primate got an evolution after all these years. Like, at this point, you wouldn't really expect a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon to receive a lot of evolutions. Especially considering they gave a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon evolutions in both Gen 2 and 4. And then they just kind of stopped for a while. But yeah, I am really happy that we got Annihilate in the roster. It is such a cool Pokemon. Now we beat these two. Oh, I can't believe it! Beat another Crushkin. Such a fun name for trainer class. And what are we gonna do for this one? Alright, when it comes to what we're gonna be facing here, I might actually have Sarah in the lead here. I want to head back into the grass and see if we can get our new catch here. Because there is at least one new Pokemon we can get in this area. And I would very much like to grab it now before we get farther into the Knot Island area. Seeing a lot of Spearow. It's very familiar. Also, seeing this Pokemon reminded me, I forgot to mention at this point, but at this stage of the game, I've decided to actually retire my Fearow as a member of our main battling team. Just because I feel that comparing her stats to Flandra, it definitely seems that Crobat has the better stats of the two. So we're going to be rolling with Flandra instead of Zoe for the foreseeable future. That's not to knock Fearow, it's still a Gen 1 Pokemon I have a lot of attachment to. And I even managed to bring a Fearow to the Pokemon League quite a few times in my previous runs. But yeah, for this one, we're gonna give Zoe a break. Especially because I don't want anything bad to happen to her. She's been with us for a long time. Anyway, completely talking over it, but we caught ourselves a Ponyta! Ponyta, the Fire Horse Pokemon. Its body is light and its legs are incredibly powerful. It can clear Air's Rock in one leap. Yet another reference to a real-world location. Alright, for this Ponyta, we are going... Alright, you are a male. Alright, we are gonna call you... Brayburn. Feel like that's a pretty fitting name for the little horsey. So I'm definitely happy we finally got ourselves Ponyta. if you're playing Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, then you would have had the ability to get, you'd be able to acquire a Ponyta a lot sooner, because you can actually get them in Route 17, which is Cycling Road. So you easily have an opportunity to get it much sooner than this point. And if you're playing the original Red and Blue games, you can actually get Ponyta inside the Pokemon Mansion on Cinnabar Island. So yeah, this entire Pokemon line was moved over here because, you know, this area has a volcanic island to it, so that's what they're kind of going for. So having some fire Pokemon unique to this area, which I guess kind of fits. Does make it a long time for us to acquire these Pokemon. But hey, at least they're pretty close to the point where they can evolve, so that's nice. Alright, and this guy, every morning before breakfast, I swim around this island. That could take a while. I mean, definitely has results. I mean, goddamn. But yeah, back onto the topic I was just mentioning earlier with Claire. So pretty recently I've been following the Runaway Guys playthrough of Mario Party 9, which certainly been pretty interesting because I hadn't seen too much of that game for obvious reasons. But for what I've seen of it, when you once you get used to the whole all the characters confined to a car and them all moving across the board at the same pace, it's actually a pretty good game. And just seeing the Runaway Guys go through it's definitely been very fun, especially since Emil had been very vocal about not really enjoying that game for the longest time, so definitely good to hear him actually enjoying it. But there's been a lot of funny moments from their recent playthrough that I really got a kick out of. Like, my god, there's a point where Emil revealed that he didn't know the meaning of the term alimony, despite him constantly making references to having to pay alimony to a certain character from their playthroughs. So yeah, that was certainly an interesting moment, and Claire definitely took a lot of time just to totally mess with Emil because he didn't know what that word meant despite using it so much. It was very amusing. Hot springs go hand in hand with volcanoes. The Ember Spa here, well, I made it years ago. I hewed the pool right out of a gigantic boulder by hand. I was using this at the time. I suppose I could part with it. We get HM06, something that wasn't originally available to us back in Red and Blue. That shatters boulders as if they were made of crackers. Oh boy. So this move. Go into our team. We have ourselves a new HM that we're able to teach our Pokemon. Look at that base power. 20 at this point in the game. Yeah, it's not worth it. Don't put it on your Pokemon's moveset. It's really bad by this point of the game. Don't go for it. Also completely talked over it, but you can actually relax in the hot spring water there in order to fully heal your Pokemon. So that's pretty nice. But yeah. Obviously, we're going to need to teach one of our Pokemon Rock Smash to be able to acquire some of the elusive items around here. But I'll probably do that off-stream, because I really don't want one of my main battling Pokemon to get Rock Smash, because it's such a bad move. I do not want to give it to any of my Pokemon. Ugh. Just no, it's not worth it. But yeah, in terms of some other stuff that I've been seeing lately. So there is a channel that I've been following recently called Legends of Evantress, where it's a channel that is focused on doing D&D playthroughs, and they're a very funny group that gets a lot of fun on shenanigans that they get done, and they've had a bunch of their adventures have animated segments to it, which I absolutely adore. Like, the animation is so freaking funny, and really highlight the absurdity of the adventures they go on. But, yeah, very recently they've actually started to resume one of their playthroughs that they had done on previously, which is Once Upon a Witchlight, and I've definitely been enjoying the new sessions that they had. I'm still trying to catch up to the point where they stopped, and I definitely have a couple more videos to go through before I'm all caught up on the story they've been weaving. But yeah, it's definitely been a fun time. And I've also been rewatching a lot of the animations based on the Witchlight campaign, which has obviously been really fun to go through that too. But yeah, a lot of the newer sessions that they have been doing recently have definitely been very fun. Like, the most recent one they did last week, oh man, that was really something. And like, the party got swept up by a tornado, they had to rush their way through a cave infested with spiders. Yeah, there was just a lot of neat stuff that they had happen to them in their most recent session, and it's going to be really interesting to see what they do going forward, given all the stuff that has happened over the course of their adventure, and they've definitely done a lot of build-up to this new area that they're exploring, so yeah, it'll be very fun to see where they go forward with this campaign. I'm really excited to see some more sessions from them, which I believe we should be getting a new session. I forget what day is it. Okay, so I believe they do new sessions on Wednesday, so we should be getting a new one tomorrow. That'll be good. Alright, I paralyzed the Seadra, so, ha! We actually outspeed you! Take that! Like, I know my Snorlax had a few levels on that thing, but even still, it feels good to outspeed an opponent when you have a very slow Pokemon. Ooh, a fisherman. Let's wonder what he's got. Wait a second. I think I hooked a big one. Well, we'll have to see about that, sir. Tommy! He's got almost a full team. Okay, let's see what you got here, Tommy. Shouldn't be too much trouble for Valium. God, I am very thankful that Valium has been a pretty reliable party member here, considering that his Pokemon Blue counterpart from so many years ago, he ended up dying really quickly to a Dodrio shortly after I caught him, so that was very unfortunate. But yeah, I've definitely been very thankful that his FireRed counterpart has definitely stood and managed to be such a reliable party member. I'm definitely hoping to take Valium all the way. So I'm already starting to plan out what my final team is going to be in this run, since obviously we only have a few sessions left to go through, considering what we still have left on the table. So yeah, but it will be interesting when we finally get to the end of this journey. It has definitely been a fun one. I've really enjoyed going through this game here on this channel. I definitely feel like FireRed was definitely a good choice for my inaugural streams on YouTube. And especially since moving away from Twitch, given the recent policies that they've had, yeah, I feel like it's going to be a pretty comfortable time doing streams here in the foreseeable future. I was a little worried at first because there are a lot more people that use YouTube compared to Twitch, and obviously means you get a more bad apples, but it's been pretty chill so far. Haven't had any problems. Can you imagine if this volcano were to erupt? The explosion would be the end of us. How terrifying is that? What would terrify? Would you like me to teach explosion? So this guy is able to teach explosion to one of your Pokemon. Wilma can learn it, but we are not teaching her that. Oh, Team Rocket? Over here. We'll try digging here. That treasure the admin's been talking about should be here. What the? You're in the way. Get lost. So Team Rocket is conducting some shady business even here on the Sevi Islands. Very interesting. So that actually ties into some of the post-game storyline that they have in FireRed and Leaf Green, which, for this playthrough, we are probably not going to see, because I'm not really planning on doing the post-game content here. So I already did that in Leaf Green, and sometime soon I'd like to upload my Leaf Green streams over here, because that would be very good. Alright, now what I wanted to do is I want to teach Strength to one of my Pokemon so that we can go forward. I'm thinking we could give this to Wilma. Just out of our options here. Yeah, Strength is pretty much gonna be just a more reliable Mega Punch, since it's a lot more accurate. So okay, we'll give that to Wilma, and give her the strength she so rightly deserves. I forget if I taught Strength to Wilma back in my Emerald Nuzlocke way back in the day, but yeah, this definitely feels right. So let's get pushing. So yeah, we're just moving these boulders aside so we can clear the path up Mount Ember. Do you know caves form inside volcanoes? That I do. It's the result of lava flowing through the volcano's mass. It's definitely quite interesting just thinking about volcanoes. They're just such interesting natural formations and just really freaking cool conceptually. I've actually been to a volcano when I was on vacation many years ago, and that was a pretty neat time. It was a dormant volcano, so it was obviously like covered in a lot of greenery, and from the view in the crater, just a lot of just verdant plant life all over the place. So it was very cool to see. Also, I've been in talks with my mom about potentially going on vacation to Iceland, and I know that's also a volcanic island, so it could be quite cool to see. And I know that that volcano in Iceland is a lot more active, so I don't expect to see any eruptions there, but who knows? Could be cool to see. Okay, I do not appreciate being paralyzed here. You know what we can do? We can rest, and then that will cure our paralysis, and then we can just sleep talk to finish off this gloom. Alright, come on, I know we can do this. Luckily, we have leftovers. We can weather whatever these Pokemon are doing here. So we'll just sleep, recover our status, and then we'll do sleep talk to finish you off. What's also nice about being asleep is you don't have to worry about taking a hit that could affect your status again. So you can't stack burn or poison on top of sleep. You're only affected by that one status. Likewise, you also can't burn a poison Pokemon or put a frozen Pokemon to sleep. It doesn't work like that. So yeah, the 5 core status ailments can't be stacked. However, the minor status ailments like confusion, affection, and curse, all of those ones can actually stack. So definitely be wary about that in certain battles. Alright, so for this fight, well, not fight, but I'm thinking about what I want to do here. Because there is one new Pokemon that we can catch here on Mount Ember, and I would very much like to try and get it. Firo. Pretty relevant to something I was discussing earlier. Ooh, we can see a hidden item up here. Yeah, this area definitely has a lot of elevated paths. And even here, you need Rock Smash to get through certain sections. So that's something you need to be wary about. You do need a few HMs to navigate this area fully and get as many possible items as you can. However, we're not going to worry about that for the time being. Let's talk to you. I've been in training so I can mend my broken heart. It toughened me up physically, at least. Hi-ya! Oh, man. I don't really know if I can really relate to most people going through heartbreak, because I've never really been in a serious relationship, which is kind of sad to say given my age, but yeah, the most I can really say is when I was in the 4th grade and I had a crush on a girl in my class, and I ended up confessing how much I like her, and I actually did give her a kiss, but it was just on the cheek. It was very cute and innocent, you know, but later she told me that she didn't feel the same way, so that basically killed any chance of that happening. And since then, just haven't really tried to pursue any relationships. So yeah, that's just kind of how things have been lately with me over these many years. The way you battle reminds me of the guy who dumped me. Wow, Jesus, lady! Definitely not gonna send you flowers after that. Alright. So now we dealt with you. What else can we find around this volcano? Still something in the grass around here we can find. Also want to mention this area is quite special because there's another thing we're able to get in this area. Well, specifically there is a unique Pokemon that can be found in this area. But I'm not going to be going to it at the moment. I just don't feel comfortable going for some of these encounters until we're much later on in the game and our team is stronger. So we're going to hold off on that particular encounter until much later. Ooh, Dire Hit. So that is an item that can boost the critical hit rate of your Pokemon in battle. Could be good for later. Alright, I believe we go up here. Yeah, there's a ledge blocking us from being able to access the higher sections of the volcano. So we can forget about that. Hey, bud. An active volcano is one that's erupting or about to. Yeah, definitely a scary thought. I can't really imagine... Well, I guess I can kind of imagine why people would live around volcanoes. Like, despite the danger of having your entire home being consumed by lava, like, volcanoes do provide a very enriching environment for a lot of life forms in their ecosystem. So yeah, I can fully understand why people would live in this environment. Provides a lot of good, verdant areas they can thrive in. So yeah, besides the danger of the volcano potentially erupting, there are at least benefits to that area. Ooh, got a level up from Flan. That's good. Ooh, that was hot. What's erupting from me? TMI, dude. TMI. So we can find an Ultra Ball there in the dirt. And we can actually venture inside Mount Ember, which I believe is actually beneficial to me, because the Pokemon we're after is more common in here. Yet we can find Machop in this area, and I would like to catch you indeed. So Machop here is a fighting type Pokemon, much like the Primate that we've been using throughout our run. So Machop is definitely a good fighting type. It's pretty much the spitting definition of a fighting type. It has very high attack, and it's got a pretty good move pool, at least in the later games, for being able to use its attack stat well. Here in the early games, you're pretty much just guaranteed to stack whatever really strong fighting moves you want on it, which it does get quite a bit. And this is also an example of a Pokemon that evolves from trading. So after you get it evolved into Machoke, you will need to trade it to be able to unlock its true power. But yeah, this one is really good if you get it trained up. Machamp is such a good Pokemon. And for you, I feel we could name you after a particular Machop that I had back during one of my Pokemon X Nuzlockes. It's Vine time, baby! And with that, that's the last Pokemon I want to catch here on this island. So, let's get on out of this mountain and get ourselves back to the Pokemon Center. That was definitely a very worthwhile trip. We got ourselves some new encounters. And as was made apparent there, we managed to encounter enough Pokemon to be able to fill up one of our PC boxes. Sadly, we can't, check it right now because the servers are down. You guys need to work on the servers, guys! Alright. So now we got that taken care of, and our team is looking pretty good here. I think it's time that we board the ship and go exploring one of the other islands. Ahoy there, where do you want to sail? Let's stop off at Free Island first. All aboard the ship, that we shall. See, I'm going here for a very specific reason. So we go to some of the areas here. If you check the water, the current's much too fast. Surf can't be used here. So yeah, there are some areas where you just can't enter the water because of the water current. So definitely remember that when going through these areas. Hey lady, fork over some spending money. Ah! Who are you? I'll call the police! Seems like this place is a biker problem. We're the Kanto Rider Federation! Vroom, 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 vroom. My bike's wimpy, so I have to make exhaust noises myself. God, that guy's just reminding me of that one episode of South Park with a lot of very obnoxious bikers were causing trouble. I was like, man, that's good. Hey there, how's it going? What am I doing here, you ask? Why, I'm prospecting for gold. When I strike it rich, I'm buying a house in Kanto. Okay, I completely forgot about this, but this area, technically you're not supposed to access this area by this point in the game. But this area here, this tunnel this guy carved out here, leads to an area over here that has grass in it. And we can indeed catch a Pokemon here. The question is, do I want to? We can try. Let's go into the grass, because there's only one thing we can encounter here. And it's a Pokemon we are not supposed to be able to see here at this point. Yeah, this is Dunsparce. This thing is, well, it's something. After many years, it finally got an evolution in Scarlet and Violet. But here, it's just kind of meh. We're just gonna throw our Ultra Ball and see if we can catch this thing. Oh, there we go. That wasn't too bad. So yeah, the reason we have this thing is available is in order to set up this game so that I would be able to acquire certain evolutions. I gave myself the National Pokedex, and that opens up some new content here on the Sevi Islands by doing so. So, yeah, we ended up getting this way earlier than we're supposed to. Dunsparce, the land snake Pokemon. If spotted, it escapes by burrowing with its tail. It can hover just slightly using its wings. Now, I actually had a Dunsparce when I was playing through Pokemon Violet, and I really did like this thing because it got an evolution, and it was actually really darn good. But I'm gonna call you Millhouse. So, yep, that is that. But yeah, in terms of actual battle properties, yeah, Dunsparce is really weak. It gets some interesting moves by level up in TM, but yeah, there's really not much else to it. It is a pretty weak Pokemon. Rare rocks and gems are displayed. So we got an empty housing here with nothing much to it. Phew! From this day on, this island belongs to us. Free Island. Kin Island of family bonding. So we got some biker trouble here on Kin Island. Let's crush berries. That'd be wasting berries? We can always find some berries on the ground in Berry Forest. So we got ourselves a hint for a new area we can explore. So we'll definitely want to look into that in a bit. But for now, let's go talk to some of the peeps around here, then check the PC. It's impossible to surf between the islands around these parts. The tides are too fast and treacherous. Hey, did you hear the news? The PC network here can now link with PCs in Kanto. I don't know how that came about, but it's fantastic. So yeah, on your first visit to the Sevi Islands, the only PC that is able to work and connect to your PC boxes is here on Kin Island. So you definitely want to keep that in mind when exploring these areas. Especially when you need to switch around your team if you're doing a Nuzlocke run and you want specific Pokemon in this area. So yep, Brayburn's looking pretty decent. Then Rhine here is Brave. That increases attack but lowers speed. That is pretty good on you. That could be potentially a good backup should anything happen to Khalifa. And then Millhouse is Millhouse. Really not worth it. I don't see any reason of bringing a Dunsparce into our party. So yeah, that is very nice indeed. Alright, before we move forward, I do want to switch around the team a bit. I'm thinking... I actually don't... Yeah, we are going to need to be able to surf in a bit, so we'll definitely keep you around. So let's bring in Raditz. Valium, you definitely got a lot of good work done, so we'll swap you out. Khalifa, we'll definitely want to bring in. Wilma's going to be good in this area. Kendall is pretty good for here. Just kind of thinking of our options. Actually, we'll give Wilma a break. I don't see strength being needed in this area, so yeah, we'll swap you out. Also, we're going to need Raditz, because Cut is going to be necessary in this upcoming area. So just want to make note of that. But yeah, we will definitely want to keep Aether in the party, because we're going to need to do some more surfing in a bit. Also, while we're here, I want to show off that while we were grinding up the team, Raditz learned a new move, which is Pedal Dance. It's a little weaker than how it is in the later games, but still pretty reliable. User attacks with pedals for 2 to 3 turns, then gets confused. It's pretty much a grass-type version of the move Thrash, which makes it pretty nice. It is on the weaker side compared to later games, but still good. We don't need you people bringing your noise and trouble here. We'll ask you to go back to Kanto. Hey, go cry somewhere else. Our boss is on his way. When he gets here, we'll give you a rad motorbike show you won't soon forget. What? Not on your life? Get off the island now! Who's gonna make me? So these guys got some really angry bikers around here just causing trouble for them. So we'll definitely want to do something about this. But we can't do anything about that for the time being. So for now, let's head over to island number 2. We'll see what we can do here. Danger, fast current, fishing and surfing prohibited. So yeah, 2 island. This is going to be a smaller island, but still some nice things to talk about here. There's an old woman who lives in a cottage out on the Cape. She gives the eye to Pokemon. It's a bit unnerving. Well, what old person isn't? I say that, but I'm gonna be old eventually, so... yeah, best not to dwell on that for now. It's got a PC here, which will be very nice for healing us up. Well, there's not gonna be really any tough battles in this area, so no, we don't need to worry about that. Not many people live on 2 Island. There is this old lady who lives out on the Cape. She's been there since I don't know when. Have you visited the game corn already? It's no good to go alone, you have to take a friend along. Oh yeah, that's something we're gonna need to mention, only briefly. That fellow there, he moved here from Celadon City. He started up a shop with his younger brother. You have to wonder if he knew what he was getting into. Oh, hello, welcome to my shop. We've only opened up recently. Our merchandise is limited, but I hope we can serve your needs. So we got ourselves a small little shop here. We can actually buy fresh water in bulk. So I'm going to grab a couple of these. They're much cheaper than getting super potions, so it's definitely a good advantage here. So yeah, I definitely appreciate having this little shop that we can just stock up on some items. I believe later on this shop will get bigger and we can acquire some more items here. But for now, the inventory is rather limited. But for now, let's take this opportunity to sell some of the loot we've been gathering. Oh yeah, that's good. And we'll sell the revive, because we don't need those in this challenge run. So yeah, definitely very nice. So I kind of feel like some of these sprite assets here were taken from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, since there's a market in Slateport City. Boing, boing. If you try the jumping game, Pokemon you can enter. Boing. Some go boing, and some go boing, boing, boing. Did you know that? Boing. Fascinating. So we check the shops around here. I'm the Pokemon Move Maniac. I know every single move that Pokemon learned growing up. I'm also a Mushroom Maniac. Bring me 2 tiny mushrooms or 1 big mushroom. If you do that for me, I'll teach a move to 1 Pokemon. So this guy here is the Move Tutor. He is able to teach your Pokemon moves that they are able to learn in their moveset. And traditionally, this guy is able to use his services for heart scales. However, in this game, because heart scales aren't as easily obtainable, he instead requires mushrooms as payment. So if you want your Pokemon to learn some attacks, what you're going to do, the easiest way to do this is to find Paris over in Mount Moon and then use the move Thief in order to steal mushrooms that they hold, so that you'll be able to amass enough to teach your Pokemon moves. It takes a while to get the resources you need, but it is pretty helpful when you do get them all, and you're able to teach your Pokemon some special attacks. Because there are some moves that a Pokemon will only have really early in their moveset that they aren't able to obtain from normal means. So that's definitely a reliable way to acquire those. Now, where's Lostelle gone to today? She always brings me lunch every day right about now. You there! Are you a friend of Lostelle's? Have you seen Lostelle around? I don't know where she might be. Dude, you named your daughter Lost. You have no one to blame but yourself for this. She should have been here long ago. Lostelle's a cutie. She got my looks, So what if something's happened to my lost Stell? Please help me find her. Please go search Free Island. Ha! What's this game corner? How much sadder can this get? Those clowns, they said they'd be waiting on the island, so where are they? Hey you, is this the only free island around here? Try waking up before you crawl out of bed, you punk. This is 2 islands. Move it! Get your filthy motorbike out of my place! Huh? Oh, gotcha. These islands are confusing. Would you look at that? That punk scuffed up my floor! I'm sorry, we're not running any games today. And we're not going to be doing any of them, because those are multiplayer only things that we're able to do, so we're not going to do that. But over here, we got ourselves a new area, Cape Brink. And for this area, I would like to bring out my Super Rod. And we're going to go fishing here for a little bit. So in terms of Pokemon we can catch here, so unfortunately we've already acquired every Pokemon that we are able to find here. However, there is a specific Pokemon I do want to try and hunt for out of the available Pokemon we have already obtained. So we are going to go ahead and try to catch this thing. It shouldn't take too long to get it. No, you're not what I'm looking for, Psyduck. You know what, let's show a Petal Dance since we have the opportunity. It's such a dainty looking attack, but yeah, it does good damage. It was also actually the signature move of Vileplume for the longest time. But a lot more grass Pokemon learn it these days. Yeah, that barely gives us any experience. We're just gonna pass on fighting these things. And we're just gonna keep fishing till we find what I want. I know this may seem a little bit of an abuse of the Dupe's Clause, since we're still running with a rule that for, what am I trying to say here? Like, typically Nuzlocke runs, you're only allowed the first encounter that you have in an area. But a lot of people play with the Dupe's Clause, where they're allowed to skip an encounter if it's a Pokemon they've already acquired. But for certain instances, it may be beneficial to catch a Pokemon that you have already acquired. Especially if it's a Pokemon that is able to have multiple evolutions, much like Poliwhirl here, or if it's a Pokemon that is requested by an NPC for an in-game trade, like Poliwhirl here. Yeah, if you obviously can't tell by the tone of my voice, I want to catch Poliwhirl because there is something we can do with this thing. We have already acquired a Poliwhirl, and we have since evolved it into Politoed. But I want to catch another Poliwhirl so that we can use it for a specific reason. And I say this is totally valid since this is a completely new route and we have not previously caught a Pokemon here, so we should be totally fine acquiring this. Alright, but the Poliwhirl, for what I'm gonna do with you, we don't need to worry too much about a name. I guess we'll call you... I swear I have a reason for this. It will become apparent eventually, don't worry about that. We have caught ourselves a Poliwhirl over here at Cape Brink. And if we head up here, there is a certain someone that I would like to talk to in just a bit. Also, we can find Oddish here, which we've already acquired. There's no reason to do that. I mean, Oddish also gets an evolution, but I don't know if we're going to be able to get the item that requires it. But anyway, we got a fellow here. I perfected the ultimate move of its type. But will no one take it for future use? You, a Vileplume. No, I was just mistaken. So this NPC is quite unique. She is a move tutor that will specifically teach an attack to either your Venusaur, Charizard, or Blastoise. She is able to teach them a specific attack. For Venusaur, she teaches Frenzy Plant. For Charizard, she teaches Blast Burn. And for Blastoise, she teaches Hydro Cannon. These moves are basically elemental versions of Hyper Beam, in that they do really high damage at the cost of making it so your Pokemon can't act on the next turn. Sadly, because of what happened in the Pokemon Tower, we are unable to reap her benefits here. So sorry, buddy. Also, we could have encountered Golduck in the grass here, which, fine. Still wanted to go for Poliwhirl just because of what we could have obtained from taking that route. But yeah, when it comes to whether or not you want to use the elemental Hyper Beam attacks, they are very good damaging moves, and certainly be a very nice way to round out your starter Pokemon's movesets. But of course, the risk of having them is that they do have the effect that your Pokemon can't act after the attack is used. So they're really good to use as a special move that's pretty much you want to use at the end of a battle to try and end it as quickly as possible. Definitely not a move you want to lead with in a battle, is what I'm trying to get at. And especially if you're doing a challenge run like I currently am, then the turn where you are unable to move would certainly make things very delayed. So why am I in this pocket here? I want to deposit this PP Max for later. So that is an item that will fully increase a Pokemon's power points for a move to its max level. Could be useful in a few situations. We're not going to worry about that right now. Okay, so now that we dealt with some of the things around here, yep, I think it's time that we get started on this. So, what we needed to do in order to advance the story here in the Sevi Islands, you needed to go to visit 2 Island and visit the game corner in order to have that conversation with Lostell's father. So that we both know that Lostelle is missing, and we also have that event where the leader of the biker gang comes over here to Free Island, since he got mixed up and went to the wrong island. So now that's dealt with, it's time for us to press onward. For this part, highly recommend having a Psychic type for this battle. Are you the boss? Go back to Kanto right now. Huh? I just got here, pal. What's with the hostile attitude? It's mighty cold of you. Your gang of followers have been raising havoc on their bikes. Do you have an idea how much trouble they caused us on the island? No, man, I don't get it at all. Look at this place. What do you do for entertainment? Gotta be thanking us for livening up this sleepy village. But hey, if you insist, you can try making us leave. You cowards, so tough in a pack. Yep, we gotta do something about this. You, what are you staring at? Don't you know it's not polite? You want to make something out of it or what? I like your guts. You'll be losing money to me, but I like your guts, so I'm gonna take them. So got ourselves some biker goons to take care of. These guys are gonna be exclusively using poison types, so that's why I recommend bringing on a psychic type. So Sarah, she is just going to be getting a lot of free experience here. That's pretty much what's going to be happening right now. So while we're just dealing with these bikers, what's something else that we can talk about? So every once in a while, I've been hopping back into Pokemon Shield just so that I can do some Dynamax adventures. And sadly, I still haven't managed to get much luck with finding any new shiny Pokemon from doing that. Which is a shame because I do have the shiny charm, and shinies have a higher chance of appearing from Dynamax adventures. So, added up, that should mean I'd be getting a lot more, but sadly I haven't. Oh well. Yes, it's not too much to really worry about. We'll get some more eventually. Kind of thinking of some other news. I hear that we got an update with the release date of Grand Theft Auto 6, which I think is going to be releasing next year, so it's going to be pretty neat. Definitely been hearing a lot of people being anxious for that game eventually being released, so that should be something. I've been watching you, and I'd say you've done enough. What are you, their friend or something? Then I guess you'll be battling me in their place. So now that we dealt with a small fry, it's time we face the leader, Q-Ball Paxton. It's like the leader of this gang of bikers, who, believe it or not, actually made their first appearance in Gold and Silver. There's a few NPCs in the Kanto region in Gold and Silver that are bikers, and they claim to be part of the Kanto Biker Federation. So yeah, this is actually a callback to Gold and Silver. Kind of cool getting to see some more of these NPCs. But yeah, this really isn't much to talk about. He's just using more of the same poison Pokemon we've already encountered in our adventure. So we're just gonna sweep them aside. Take that. Alright, enough. We'll leave like you wanted. We'll be happy to see the last of this boring island. Huh, yeah, go right on hanging around with these hayseeds. And like that, we dealt with the biker problem. Thank you! Those goons were nothing but bad trouble. Oh look, your Pokemon got hurt on my account. And we get a full restore. Very nice. You got seriously impressive Pokemon with you. It'd be fantastic if someone as strong as you lived here. I hope you'll at least stay here a while. I beg your pardon? You're looking for Lustel? Lustel went off toward Bond Bridge a while ago. So we got a lead on Lustel's whereabouts, so we'll definitely want to go try and find her. And while we are in the process of just setting things up for this next leg of our adventure, forgot to bring this up before, but I believe that the Sevi Islands, in terms of their whole concept of visiting an archipelago of islands to the south of Kanto and having a lot of different encounters here compared to what you can see on the mainland, I do feel like this area is partially a reference to the saga in the anime, which was between the Kanto and Johto portions of the show, which took place in an area called the Orange Archipelago, which was all about Ash and his friends going on adventures to various islands. And they went there in order to do a favor for Professor Oak to acquire an item called the GS Ball from the professor of those islands. And then they ended up going on an adventure in order to try and win a... Well, Ash wanted to enter the Orange Islands of Pokemon League by challenging the island gyms there, and then eventually taking on the champion. And yeah, it was definitely an interesting series. Like, I wouldn't necessarily call it filler, because there were quite a few interesting developments that happened on the during the Orange Islands portion of the show. Like, that was how Ash acquired his Lapras and his Snorlax, which are both pretty interesting Pokemon that he had. Especially because Lapras managed to have a few appearances afterwards, and then Snorlax got quite a few awesome battles where he got to take part in. Definitely managed to be a very cool party member for Ash to have. But anyway, we got ourselves a shop over here that we can finally access. A final normal shop in this area. We don't really need anything, so we're going to keep moving. But yeah, there were other developments, obviously, that are very important in the during the Orange Islands arc of the anime. Like, Misty got her Poliwag, which would be a very important ally for her. And it was also the season where Ash finally managed to get his Charizard to obey him. Which, God, I love that episode. Revisiting it after so many years, it just always just really hits me. It's such a good one. I bought this house because I want to live somewhere quiet. Today I think I'll go out fishing. Also, another thing I like with the Orange Islands League is that it has a lot of interesting developments with its the gym challenge that Ash does is with the different trials and challenges that he faces, as they're very unconventional gyms that test his abilities to command his Pokemon for different ways. Like, one of them involves a sharpshooting challenge where he's hitting targets with his water Pokemon's attacks. Then, really? Did you really need to respawn that shrub, game? Then there was another one where he had to climb a mountain and basically toboggan back down it with his team of Pokemon. It was definitely pretty interesting. And one of the gyms had one of the first examples of a double battle in the show, which would eventually pave the way for double battles becoming the norm starting in Ruby and Sapphire, which is very cool. So yeah, definitely some interesting stuff with the Orange Archipelago portion of the show. Definitely feel like it gets a bit of a bad rap. Certainly one of the more underappreciated parts of the Pokemon anime. Definitely has its fair share of good moments, though also a lot of episodes that don't really contribute to the overall story that Ash goes on. But there's still quite a few memorable ones. Like when they go to the island where it has a bunch of Pokemon that are pink because of the pink berries that they eat. And there's an entire island that is inhabited by Kabuto. Yeah, there's a cool amount of different episode content that they explore. It's certainly a very nice watch, I feel. And yeah, you can definitely see a lot of the influence from that portion of the anime with the Sebi Islands here in FireRed and Leaf Green. Now, like I said before, this area is exclusive to FireRed and Leaf Green. It does not return at all in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. So yeah, don't expect to see anything of that if you're playing those games. Ooh, we got ourselves a new encounter here. And this one, oh man, there's a bit of a tragic element to finally getting an encounter with a wild Pidgeotto here. Considering that so many sessions ago, we lost our Pidgey Rosie. Oh! These things get Whirlwind. Okay, that ended the battle. So that means we don't have the opportunity to catch it. Fine, I guess we're never gonna have a Pidgeotto. I mean, we do have another opportunity to catch this thing. It just... God, it's so frustrating to lose out on a potential encounter because of that. Where are you up to in such a hurry? Trying to get far away from here because of 4 memories of a Pokemon I lost long ago. Also, you have the same name as a Pokemon game. And you're using a Pokemon that is also dead. Why must you taunt me like this? I guess we can keep Raditz for this one. There's really not much he's gonna be able to do here unless we're fighting some water Pokemon, which we're in an island area, so obviously we're gonna encounter some more water types. And you're going for the sleep powder. Yay. Alright, let's get out our flute. Gotta wake you up. Get out of here. Please let that be your last. Nope. Still got one more. Okay, why do you have 2 Ivysaur? You could have easily evolved one of these. Some of these NPCs, I swear. If you keep going this way, you'll eventually reach Berry Forest. Oh yeah, I forgot to bring it up, but there's actually a new trainer class we encountered, which is the Aroma Ladies. They first appeared over in Ruby and Sapphire, and we're getting to see them here now. Yay, yay, Pokemon! That's another neat thing with the Sevi Islands, is that a lot of trainer classes that were introduced in the later games end up appearing here. And that's certainly quite cool to see. Like, now we're fighting another Ruby and Sapphire trainer, which is a tuber. So yeah, obviously, Aroma Ladies will specialize in grass types, and tubers will use water Pokemon. Also, seeing this particular Pokemon here, this reminds me of a pretty interesting story involving one of my previous Pokemon experiences. So, back in the day, I don't want to say this. So, back in the day, my first copy of Pokémon FireRed I got as a gift from my dad, I highly suspect that it was a bootleg cartridge, because for whatever reason, most of the dialogue in that game was in Japanese. So, yeah, I highly suspect it was not an official version of Pokémon FireRed. Especially because, you know, it wasn't in the traditional see-through red cartridge that typically you'll see those games in. So, yeah. We had a unofficial release of Pokemon FireRed, and that was the version of the game that me and my brothers would play back in the day. And for whatever reason, that copy of the game ended up getting put in the washing machine. And yeah, it basically got ruined from that, but not necessarily right away. It took a while for this thing to really start shutting down. But one of the things that would happen with the game because of the damage that it took from being in the washing machine is, you know how we encountered a trainer with a Staryu earlier? Staryu has a move it uses called Camouflage. And for whatever reason, whenever Staryu would use that move in my damaged bootleg copy of Pokemon FireRed, the game would just immediately crash. So I don't know why specifically that would happen, but yeah, that was a very, very interesting thing that would happen. And then eventually the game just got completely unplayable. Like, eventually it lost the ability to save, so there was basically no reason for us to play that copy of the game anymore. Luckily, I still do have my childhood copy of Leaf Green, and that still works perfectly fine. I haven't played it in a couple years, but, you know, it's still nice to have. Definitely have a lot of good memories of playing through that. Oh no, don't come here! Please stay away from me! I'm just here for a Pokemon battle, what could be the problem? Tisha? Ooh, she got a Kingler! It's a very cool Pokemon. Though, not one I typically use in the older games because, you know, it's a physical water type back when water was strictly a special type. Okay, you've won, now will you please go away? Alright, what's the problem? A Pokemon bit through my swimsuit. I can't get out of the water. Okay, we're just gonna give you some privacy from that. For this next one, let's give Khalifa this battle. The salty tang of the sea, it tickles my heart. Yeah, I could definitely relate to that, and just on the whole of appreciating some coastal areas. So got ourselves another Aroma Lady, which means we got ourselves some plenty of grass types to deal with. Shouldn't be too much trouble here. Alright, there's another thing I want to talk about, but I want to save that until we're in the next area, since obviously we're going to have a lot to talk about in a bit. Trying to think of some other stuff that we could potentially mention. I guess I could say I've been doing a bit of art recently, and there's some other things I would really like to draw soon. Specifically, one of the things that I did pretty recently, I've had an idea of some Pokemon starter concepts, and I've been drawing and sketching out a few of those ideas pretty recently. And you can find some of that art over on my DeviantArt, if you can check the link at the bottom corner of the screen there. Hintity hint. Berry Forest ahead. So yeah, we got ourselves a new area to explore here on Free Island. Welcome to the Berry Forest. Be friendly and share berries with others in Pokemon. So this area obviously is going to have a lot of berries, which you can tell from the name. So anywhere where you see these dark spots on the ground, you'll want to check, because that will usually result in you finding berries. And you can also use your item finder to kind of get an idea for where the berries are going to be. It's usually a good tool to use, because yeah, you can acquire a good selection of berries by doing this. And you should be good. Also a good idea to have a Pokemon with Cut in this area, because Cut will make it much easier for you to navigate this area. I actually forget if it's required to explore this place, but it will definitely be helpful. Then we got an encounter of Pidgey here. Now, we previously have encountered Pidgey previously and had it on the team. Sadly, she ended up dying. So, I felt it would only be appropriate that for our Berry Forest catch, we are going to try and catch this Pidgey. See if we can get you. There we go. Probably not going to use this thing because we have Crobat, but you know, it'd be nice to remember our dear friend Rosie. So for you, what are we going to call you? Alright, this is going to be an interesting choice, but we're going to call you Roz. As that's the name of a character from a movie I like called The Wild Robot. And that character is strongly associated with birds, so I feel like that would be an appropriate name for you. But yeah, here in the berry forest, you just want to check around as much as you can for berries and other items. Like that one we can see over there by the water. So we head down this ledge that should bring us over here. So yeah, now that we've gotten our encounter here, pretty much nothing we need to worry about talking about here. So I guess we can move on to some other stuff to mention. Alright, so as I mentioned in some of our earlier sessions, I've actually gotten back into playing Genshin Impact. And it's been definitely very nice getting into this game again. So the current story progress in the game, I only just now have access to the region known as Inazuma, and that's obviously going to be my next destination as far as the main story goes. However, I do have the ability to visit some of the other areas in the game, and I've actually been exploring quite a bit of Sumeru, which I believe is the area you're supposed to go to after clearing Inazuma, but I'm just able to explore it now because why not? I can just walk there. And yeah, it's been pretty fun getting to see a lot of Sumeru. It's a very cool and vibrant jungle area with a ton of different secrets to find, so I've been really enjoying my time just seeing as much of this jungle area as I can. I've always really had an appreciation for jungle areas in video games because they always just look so beautiful, and you can expect to see a lot of interesting puzzles and challenges there. And yeah, it's definitely been very fun getting to see a lot of the stuff in Sumeru. And it's still going to be a while before I have access to getting to see the main Archon of that area, but I know who she is, so it'll be pretty cool to finally get to interact with her. But yeah, it's definitely been very fun exploring this region. And one other thing that I've recently been exposed to by exploring this area is encountered these little creatures in the forest, where these little plant guys called the Aranara, which, if you're familiar with the Legend of Zelda games, they are very similar to the Koroks from that game, where they're little plant people. And yeah, I just really like the design of the Aranara. They have a funny way of speaking, and they're just very cute how these little forest spirits, how they can only be seen by children or by other people for specific reasons, such as the main player character. And it's been very fun getting to roam around the forest and doing quests with these little guys, because, yeah, there have been a few interesting developments with them. And of course, they unlock a lot of different powers that allow you to further explore the jungle. So that's definitely been very fun. And there's also been some unique challenges with exploring this area, as let's go to Valium to fight this Hypno. So one of the main events that you have occurring all throughout Sumeru is that you have these areas affected by what's known as the Withering, which are these areas that's filled with rot and decay and significantly stronger enemies than you would find in other places. And your goal to deal with these things is to try and use special resources to try and disperse the Withering by targeting specific areas and then eventually curing this area of its infection. So that's been very interesting to get to go through. Certainly been enjoying my time going through Sumeru and just seeing all the different things we can. There have been a few moments where I have had a bit of trouble, specifically involving some encounters with some of the new enemies in this area. But for the most part, it's been pretty fine. Okay, I see what's happening here given all these trees, so just excuse me while I blaze through this segment. Ooh, picked up a max elixir. So that is definitely worth picking up, as that's an item that fully replenishes the power points of a Pokemon's moves. So that could be really useful to us for later. But yeah, in terms of some other stuff I've been doing in Genshin, alongside exploring this area, I've also been attempting to get wishes in order to add some new party members to my roster, and really wanted to get a specific character in the current event, because he very rarely appears, and I would really like to get him, because he's one of the Archon in the game, and yeah, he's a very cool character I really like, but I haven't had a lot of luck with getting him, and sadly this is the last day that that event's going to be available, so that's going to be replaced with a new event in the future. But I did manage to wish another character from that, and she's pretty cute. She's a character called Chi-Chi, and she's based on a Chinese zombie, which is certainly a very interesting concept. So yeah, I'm very happy that I managed to pull her, even though I had like a 50% chance of pulling Venti, and instead I got Chi-Chi, so that made me a little disappointed, but, you know, I still like having a new party member in our roster, so that's very nice. I've also been trying to level her up, and we're gonna put that on hold for now.
Oh, please help! A scary Pokemon appeared there a little while ago. It kept scaring, and me Lostel's scared. I'm too scared to move, but I want to go home. Oh, here it comes again! No, go away! It's scaring me! I want my daddy!
So we got ourselves a forced Pokemon encounter in order to protect Lostel. And of course the target is a Hypno. This is actually based on some folklore in universe about Hypno using its hypnotizing abilities in order to lure children into forests. And whatever happens to those kids is unknown for the most part.
Oh, that was so scary. Thank you. Lostel came to pick some berries. You can have this.
We got an Ayapapa berry.
What's your name? Lostel's scared, so can I go with you to my daddy's house? Okay, let's go home.
So you rescued Lostel. How can I thank you? Lostel, darling, forgive me. Daddy didn't know you were scared and in trouble.
It's okay, Daddy. I gotta be friends with Hayden. Listen, please show me you being cool again.
Aw. Oh, what's that? You're saying that this is for me? How'd you know I love rare rocks and gems? You sure know how to make a guy happy. So we give the meteorite to Lostel's daddy. Oh, I see. This is from Bill. You have to thank him for me. You know, you've been fantastic. I want you to have this. And we receive a moonstone. Could be useful for getting Pokedex completion. Alright, I'll get the game corner running right away. You have to come visit with a friend. And that is going to do it with the main stories we need to do on the Sevi Islands. Except, of course, for actually speaking with Bill and Celio and getting that taken care of. But, you know, small victories. But yeah, now that we've cleared all that up with Lostel, basically done everything we need on 3 and 2 Island. So now we're back on 1 island, so we can conclude this storyline. Oh, hey, Hayden! What kept you so long? Been out having a good time? We got it done! The PCs are up and running! The job went incredibly quick. Bill is one amazing guy. No, there was almost nothing left for me to do. Celio, I have to hand it to you. You've learned a lot. Oh, just kiss already. Oh, really? Huh? Well, there you have it. I'm finished with the job. We should head back to Kanto. Celio, I'll be seeing you again. Hayden, I'm really sorry that we sent you off alone today. I promise I'll show you around these islands sometime. And with that, we have concluded our adventures on the Sevi Islands. Hey, wasn't that a long cruise? My buddy Celio seemed to enjoy your company. I'm sure he'd welcome you if you were to visit him again. If you have a tri-pass, you can always take a ferry there from Vermilion Port. Alright, thanks for your company. And that is going to do it here today. So yeah, we managed to get a lot done. We managed to beat Blaine and get our 7th gym badge. We've explored a good deal of the Sevi Islands and managed to get ourselves some new Pokemon. Speaking of which, let's look at our options here. So Roz, you have a bold nature. That lowers your attack, which is bad. So, bleh. Okay, before we end off this session, there is one thing that I want to do. Let's go take our Poliwhirl that we just caught, and we are going to make a quick trip over to Cerulean City for something that we are now able to do. Whee! So want to head into this house, I believe? Yes. Want to talk to this guy. He offers a trade for a Poliwhirl. We'll give him Hocus Pocus here. And we're going to send this Toad off. Dante sent over Zinx. Take good care of Zinx. Thanks. So yeah, that is an in-game trade. And with that, we got ourselves quite the good Pokemon, actually. Zinx here has a mild nature, which increases special attack. So she is going to be quite powerful indeed. Definitely could take some training up to actually get her stronger, but she could be good backup if anything should happen to our Hypno. But yeah, with that, I feel that we are in a good place to end things here. Managed to get a lot done by winning our 7th gym badge. Managed to get our adventure in the Sevi Islands done. And we are almost at the 2-hour mark here. Oh boy, this has been a busy one. But yep, I will definitely want to... Oh, so I actually can't remove you right now because you have mail. Okay. Can I take this? Alright, want to remove the mail from the PC. This is an element of the games we really don't need to go over, but basically, you can attach mail to a Pokemon that has a message on it. Read this. That's a healthy Jinx. Be kind to it. From Dante. Yeah, it certainly looks like it could be a useful Jinx to us, so yeah, I suppose that message is appropriate. But yeah, with that, we got ourselves a new Pokemon, one that could be useful, given time. But we're not going to worry too much about that, because we still got ourselves quite a bit we need to do before we are ready to take on the next gym. So we are going to need to do some more training to make sure we're prepared for that. But hopefully it shouldn't take too long, considering all the options we have available to us here. So, yeah, I feel like this is a good point to call things for now. Now that we've managed to get so much done here today. So, yep, thank you for joining me in this leg of our Pokemon FireRed adventure. Next time, we will be heading to the final gym, and hopefully we'll be seeing the end, or at least we'll be able to begin the final stage of our journey here in our Pokemon FireRed Nuzlocke. Until next time, have a good day, and take care.